Good morning. Oh, I'm looking rough this morning. Boop, gotta cross the road really quick. Car coming. All right. Good morning. This is Mona, and this is my morning view. Today, summer edition 2025. Almost said September. Memory Monday. Memory Monday. I knew I should have put my hair back in a braid or ponytail, trying to control this wildness going on this morning. Supposed to rain today. Wasn't sure if I was going to get my walk in. Cloud. There I am. Clouds are ominous, so I don't know how much of a walk I'm going to get in. The dog is in the backyard so that she has time to do whatever she has to do. But she's going to wait for me. That's just how she is. So I'm hoping to finish my walk, get her to do her business before the rain comes. All right, normally I wasn't going to talk about the rain and the weather anymore, but strategically talking about it now because we have to get through this. All right, so, good morning. It is Memory Monday. Memory Monday. And I wasn't really paying attention to the date yesterday. But I wasn't going to do a morning view on Sunday anyways. But yesterday marks the 30th year of my father passing. He passed away in 1995. And I was thinking about, it's a bunch of things I'm thinking about right now that's gone on this week. And it's like, wow, some mind-blowing stuff. So I'm hoping to remember that tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday's a good day to think about it. Okay, but today it's Memory Monday. So in honor of my father, who passed away 30 years ago yesterday, I'm going to talk about memory. Not memories. Not memories. There's a little bit of memories in this conversation, but not much. All right, so what we have is water retains memory. Don't know who knows that. Water retains memory. You can put a signal into water and it will remember the signal. Now, a signal or a sound is a vibration. So when we speak, there is vibration that comes out of our mouth. There was a scientist, can't remember his first name, it was Motto. And Motto was, I believe, his last name. And I believe he was Japanese. But he did a test on water. And he spoke words to the water. And then he froze and examined the crystals underneath a microscope. And so what happened with this is he spoke words like love, peace, joy. And there was these beautiful, beautiful crystals that formed from those words. And then he spoke words like hate, anger, kill, murder, whatever bad words there are. He spoke to those, and they were muted and dark and didn't have a form. They were just, all over the place. So here's this scientist made up of mostly water. Now, that's not what his conclusion was that I know of. I stopped at the study of it as in finding out that the words that were spoken turned into these beautiful crystals if they were words of kindness. I'm back. All right. Thanks for staying with me. All right. Looks like Baby Bear's bed is going in the garbage. I knew he would take care of it. It was close to his driveway. I would have dragged it to my garbage, but my driveway's a long ways away. Oh. And then I would be tempted to salvage the wood, because that's just what I do. All right, so anyways, what was I saying? Water. Water has memory. And yeah, it would be nice if the internet stayed throughout the entire walk, but there's blind spots in the, not so much the internet as in the phone service. So when I go down that hill, when I'm coming down the one hill right before I go up this hill, it cuts out, and then there's other blind spots. And sometimes they're long and sometimes they're not. All right, so memories. Back to the story. Memories. Memories, your water retains memory. We are mostly water, our makeup. And so what people speak to us, what we speak to ourselves, it forms us. And do we want to look like beautiful, like snowflakes, or do we want to look like that dark, muted nastiness? So when people speak bad of us, we need to counter that with goodness, with kindness, with love. All right, so because our bodies are mostly water, our flesh retains memory. So that is why when there's a donor, an organ donor or something, and a recipient receives that organ, they may have like dreams or visions or something that are odd, or from somebody else's life. And people think this is really weird, because it's like, oh, it's their imagination, it's an evil spirit, it's whatever. Flesh, being mostly water, retains memory. So when that flesh is removed from that person and put into another person, it would make sense that they might have memory that is being brought up. Don't get crazy on me here. When you hear something that it's like, that's something I've never heard before, and then you start thinking, oh, this is like New Age stuff, or it's not. We're talking science here. And I'm an analyst, so I analyze things. It's if this, then that. Or if this, possibly that. So I go down all these little roads in my head of the possibilities. And so this is a possibility of why people have memory when when they've been a recipient of being a donor from the life of someone who had that body part previously. However, when we die, see, part of this is I have to get rid of my Toyota. I love her. She's Margaret Sue Shirley. Call her Peggy, sometimes Peggy Sue. Surely she's going to get me from point A to point B. The problem with point A to point B is she doesn't stop at point B anymore. And I don't want to just junk her. I would like to see her body parts donated to live on in other vehicles. Because, well, I'm trying to remember that movie from I think the 80s, where the little robot, lived on, and at the end of the movie he was on the radio. So, anyways, side thought, because I just passed Peggy Sue just now. So, when we pass away, our flesh dies. Our flesh rots in the ground and dies. Memory gone. Boom. What isn't gone is your soul and your spirit. Now, of course, your soul and your spirit, they have memory. However, when you think about it, good morning. When we get to heaven, there's no more sadness. There's no more tears. I don't know, do our tears dry up, or tear ducts clog up? I don't know. I'm thinking that we still will have tears of joy, right? But tears of sadness will be no more. Well, why is that? Do we forget our loved ones that aren't there? Do we forget the pain and the sorrow of the past? You know, a lot of times it's referred to like a woman in labor. She has all this pain during labor, but when her child is born, there's so much joy that you forget the pain. So there's labor pains in this life. And so when we are brought into where our flesh dies, rots, returns to the dust, dust has memory too, you know. The earth has memory. You know, when Cain killed Abel, God said that the earth was crying out. That the earth was crying out. And I've heard on different ideas about war and nations that have seen war, that the earth cries out. So it's a possibility. I'm not saying that's straight out, but the Bible does say that concerning Abel, that the earth was crying out. Labor pains. Labor pains. What are we going to birth? So, water has memory. Flesh has memory. The flesh dies. What remains? What remains is our soul and our spirit. What did we feed our soul and our spirit? See, our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit. So if our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit, He is an honored guest. He's an honored guest. He doesn't intrude. He doesn't just come in just because you left the door open or a window open, because that's what the enemy does. You leave a door or a window open, he's taking opportunity. He's a thief. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. The Holy Spirit needs to be invited. He's a guest. So when He comes as a guest, He's an honored guest. And I remember as a kid with my parents, whenever somebody would come out of town to stay with us, we had a 2-bedroom house. One for the parents and one for the kids. And so the guests weren't to sleep on the couch or on the floor or in a chair. The guests got my parents' bedroom. It was the best bedroom for sleeping in. It was the best room in the house. So they got to sleep in that room. We didn't have a guest room. So honored guests got the best room in the house. So us being the Holy Spirit, the temple of the Holy Spirit, the housing unit for the Holy Spirit to come and to dwell, we have to give Him the best room in the house. And by doing so, honor reciprocates honor. he grows. He grows as he's nurtured inside of us. He grows inside of us. He's already as big as he's going to be. He's everywhere. But inside here, he's only where you will allow him to be. And so we know that our flesh is porous because it absorbs information. Just like water. Water, remembering the vibration of words. Water, remembering vibration of how things felt. You know, you have a drop that hits the water and it spreads. It spreads throughout the whole body. When the Holy Spirit is invited in, it can spread through the whole body. If all you want to do is contain it inside here. See, we are a spirit. And we have a soul. And we live in a body. And for Holy Spirit to quicken our spirit, he has to be invited in. And after the quickening of the Spirit, nurtured, spreads out in this vessel. So you have a bowl and you have water and you drop water into the bowl, it ripples out. But it only goes as far as that bowl. Right? Only goes as far as the bowl. But when you place that bowl inside of another bowl that's bigger, it can go into that bowl and it can overflow into the other bowl. Or better yet, a sieve. You can turn the water on a sieve or something porous, and when it fills up, it soaks through to the other side, unless it's sealed like a toilet. Porcelain is porous. It has to have a glaze on it to contain it. Well, that glaze is like our skin, right? So as you nurture the Holy Spirit, as it spreads throughout the body, it quickens our spirit and it flows into our soul. It flows and grows into our soul. And in that, we are filled. There's joy. There's peace. There's all the good stuff, all those good words that Dr. Amato had spoken into. As God speaks into us. And we receive those words. There's enough garbage out there in the world that if all you do is receive that, you're not going to have that joy and that peace, because it's just like, colored water. You put some water, like food coloring into a glass of water, and if you're going to drip fresh water into the cup, it's going to take a long time before that water is clear again. It needs to be flushed out. It takes the Holy Spirit to flush that out. But once it's there, you don't want more food coloring added to the water. You want fresh water every day added to the water, because unwittingly you're going to end up with some of that food coloring in your life, because we live in a fallen world. So today, for Memory Monday, water has memory. Our flesh is made up of a lot of water, mostly water. Our flesh retains memory. The Holy Spirit clears up the pain, the labor pains, the sorrow. We don't want to go through labor pains and come out on the other side with nothing to say. Pain is all that much more. So we don't want that in our lives. We want life, and life more abundantly. We want to invite Holy Spirit in and get the best room in the house. All right, that's my morning view for today. Blessings, everybody. Make sure that you go over to my YouTube channel, Mona E. Harrison, different than my Facebook profile, because I built my Facebook profile back in 2010. And so 15 years later, I don't see changing the name on that. So just go over to Mona E. Harrison on YouTube and subscribe. It's right about there, the subscribe button. Subscribe, hit the notifications, both on Facebook and on YouTube. Like, share, comment. I like comments, even if you disagree, or if you have something to expound on. Something beyond just a statement, that you have clarification and documentation of the source of where that information came from. All right, so that way knowledge trumps out opinion. There was a whole lot of vehicle noise during that blackout anyway, so again, knowledge trumps out opinion. Doesn't mean that people will believe or agree with anything I've said, anything you've said. So, no arguments. All right. Blessing, everybody. Have a great day. Remember, go over to Mona E. Harrison. And remember when this was a gravel road and how much traffic was on it? It seems like the traffic has grown since it's been paved. Just saying. They build it, they will come. No. So anyways, all right. Blessings, everybody. Have a great day. And I will see you tomorrow for Tips Tuesday. Thank you, Dennis, for watching. Thank you, Tim, for watching. And I will see you all tomorrow and beyond. All right. Blessings, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.